Welcome to this explainer. We're jumping right in today because we are completely rethinking how we view modern corporate leadership. Now, you've definitely heard the term servant leadership before, right? It's a massive buzzword. But what if the very way we talk about it in the business world has completely ruined its original intent? Let's dive into this and unpack the necessary shift from standard, run-of-the-mill servant leadership to what Jon Antonucci calls servant-minded leadership. To set the stage, think about this quote from John C. Maxwell. Leadership is not about titles, positions, or flowcharts. It is about one life influencing another. That really hits hard, doesn't it? It perfectly captures what leadership was always meant to be at its core. It's not about just being the boss or managing some giant spreadsheet. It's about deeply connecting with people and actually empowering them to rise.
And what's really fascinating here is that this philosophy isn't just some 1970s corporate invention. It literally spans millennia. Way back in 340 BC, Aristotle was talking about creating environments where members can truly realize their potential. In AD 20, Jesus of Nazareth championed this mindset of extreme humility and servanthood. And yes, in 1970, Robert Greenleaf brought it back to the modern forefront with his essay, The Servant as Leader. So we're talking about a historically rooted, deeply human philosophy.
And honestly, the core principles are undeniably good. We're talking about putting a priority on serving, practicing deep empathy and listening, actually committing to the personal growth of others, ethical behavior, shared decision-making, and genuine empowerment. I mean, who wouldn't want to work for a leader who embodies all of that? It is an inherently noble concept that's totally designed to uplift teams and create environments of absolute trust. So that brings us to the million-dollar question. If it's such a beautifully profound idea, where exactly do we go wrong? Well, over the last few decades, servant leadership became a massive industry. It was packaged up and sold through countless seminars, books, and coaching programs. And when you sell a program to a massive corporation, they really only want to know one thing. What is the return on investment? So what if the corporate pursuit of ROI is exactly what ruined this noble idea in the first place?
Let's think about the ROI trap like this. If a friend asks you to help them move in exchange for pizza and beer, you do it, right? You laugh, you joke around, it's an act of authentic service and friendship. But what if that exact same friend suddenly offered to pay you $500 to move their furniture? Instantly, it's a business transaction. The fun just vanishes. You're solely focused on the task because money is involved. Introducing strict financial stakes transforms an act of authentic, joyful service into a transactional burden.
And that right there is exactly the tragedy of what happened to corporate servant leadership. The whole narrative shifted from, how can I genuinely impact my team's lives to, well, if I serve my team, they'll increase productivity and lower our turnover costs. Corporate programs completely commodified empathy. We got free snacks, ping pong tables, and open door policies, not out of genuine love for the workforce, but to rigidly protect the bottom line. When ROI becomes the sole focus, the true heart of the servant is entirely lost in the transaction.
Which brings us to the much-needed upgrade, servant-minded leadership, or SML. This is the perfect marriage of conscious thought, genuine care, and actionable service. It is definitely not a rejection of the original idea of servant leadership. Instead, it's a necessary evolution to strip away all that corporate baggage and get back to the true heart of the matter.
Let's break down that word, mindful. Being mindful just means being conscious or aware of something. In this context, it requires an active, conscious engagement with leadership based on authentic love for your people, rather than just treating them as assets that produce a return on investment. It's a complete shift in your lens. It's not just another checklist-style corporate program you have to sit through. It's about wanting what is genuinely best for your team.
To actually do that, we have to fundamentally change how we view the people we lead. Traditional corporate culture treats workers as nouns, just a generic employee, a headcount, a number. Servant-minded leaders, however, treat their team as proper nouns. They are specific individuals with distinct lives. They are people with sick children, aging parents, or even just new hobbies. If you dive into Chapter 21 of Antonucci's work, there's this really hard truth. Knowing them as proper nouns requires your time. In leadership, time is the currency of love. You cannot say you genuinely care about your people if you are constantly using the excuse of being too busy to actually connect with them.
Now, I want you to challenge a really common traditional leadership trap. How often have you encountered that classic attitude of my way or the highway? Or, perhaps the slightly softer, passive-aggressive version? Sure, you can do it however you want, but this is how I would do it. So many leaders mistakenly believe that just because they have the title, the corner office, or the years of experience, they automatically know the absolute best or only way to execute a task.
And that brings us to a critical mantra for the servant-minded leader. I don't know what I don't know.
This phrase highlights the absolute necessity of humility. Letting people execute tasks their own way often results in vastly more passion, extreme ownership, and ultimately far better outcomes. The minute a leader genuinely thinks they have all the answers is the exact minute they cease to effectively lead. Think about it. A cup that is already completely full cannot be filled with anything new.
So how do you actively develop this kind of mindset? Well, you need guidance. But there is a massive difference between a coach and a mentor. Think back to your school days. A coach or a teacher focuses on the entire team, the general goals, and keeping the whole class moving forward together. But a mentor is a lot more like a tutor. They focus on you, one-on-one. They provide a crucial third-party perspective and, most importantly, they have already walked the exact path you are trying to navigate right now. Servant-minded leaders absolutely need mentors.
Finding that perfect mentor really comes down to three crucial things. First, it has to be someone you genuinely respect. Don't compromise on that one. Second, they need to have actually accomplished the specific goals you're aiming for. I mean, you wouldn't take directions from someone who hasn't been to your destination, right? And finally, you just have to step up and ask if they're willing to invest their time in your success. It might take a few tries, but having that mentor to help process your thoughts is absolutely invaluable.
Ultimately, reading about leadership or finding a great mentor means absolutely nothing without execution. You can't just talk about it, you have to be about it. Remember the old riddle of the 3 frogs on a log? One decides to jump off. How many are left? The answer is 3, because simply deciding to do something isn't the same as actually doing it. Good intentions do not change lives until they are backed by action. And practically, going back to chapter 21, that action starts with availability. It means creating dedicated open-door hours on your calendar where your team knows they can come in and interrupt you. It means designing your workspace to be genuinely inviting, not some intimidating fortress.
To force that action today, you can use the TNT goal method to really jumpstart your leadership journey. Make it time-oriented, set a firm deadline. Make it narrow. Instead of vaguely saying, "Oh, I'll be more available," say, "I will hold 2 hours of open door time this Thursday." And finally, make it temperate, meaning challenging, but completely realistic. You don't have to promise open access 24/7. Just commit to specific, protected windows of time where you are truly present and available for your proper nouns.
We'll wrap up this explainer with a thought from Gandhi. The future depends on what you do today. Servant-minded leadership isn't just some fascinating theory to think about. It's a choice you make every single day in your real-world interactions. Will you view your team as mere assets generating an ROI, or as specific, unique people worthy of your time and authentic investment? Remember, time is the currency of love, so how are you going to spend yours today? Thanks so much for joining me, and I really hope this sparks a powerful new way of thinking about your own leadership journey.